Absolutely, Chair. The next speaker that we have registered is Elder Doreen Healy, and she has a question related to the retention of CPS's Indigenous Relations officers. Elder Healy, you should be free to speak now.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We can, yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Commission for allowing me to speak on behalf of our Truth and Reconciliation Research Action Team to your Police Commission. My name is Doreen Healy, and I'm an Indigenous advisor to the Calgary Alliance for the Common Goods Truth and Reconciliation Research Action Team. I've spoken to your commission before, and probably some of you are probably thinking, not her again. But we are not going anywhere anytime soon. We will continue to voice our issues and concerns and hopefully continue to work together. We will keep working with you until we receive some solid and positive changes to curb the abuse our Indigenous people receive at the hands of police, who should be protecting rather than abusing. So from that, the Calgary Alliance for the Common Good Truth and Reconciliation Action Team wants to let you know that we had a very welcome and productive meeting with Inspector Averill Martin. We are very grateful to be having such frank, honest sessions with Averill, who is committed to the success of this department. We hope to have another productive meeting soon with Deputy Chief McClellan and Inspector Martin. It may seem obvious to say that leadership needs to be knowledgeable about anti-racism in order to understand Indigenous realities, and to really be anti-racist in order to retain Indigenous community mobilizers and others that you intend to hire. But there is apparently still a need to embed anti-racism learnings into management, and especially middle management. So we invite the Commissioner to inquire about the current state of the Indigenous Resource Office staff, previously 3, now 0. We understand that Acting Sergeant Alan Chamberlain's move was known in advance. Also, we want the Commission to know that Indigenous liaison officers, Justin and Devon, have suddenly left the Indigenous resource team to which they were so committed. Why did they come to their decision to leave? The Commission could also ask if the Indigenous Advisory Circle is still meeting. The Indigenous Advisory Circle could be de facto leaders of the Indigenous mobilizers. They could also meet regularly with the Commission. Our Truth and Reconciliation Action Team further believes that the Calgary Police Service needs to have at least 2 Indigenous commissioners to strengthen the support of the CPS's focus on the success of the Indigenous Relations Unit. We raise these issues because the relatively high incarceration rates of Indigenous peoples, which we are all familiar with, indicate areas of the greatest critical need for Indigenous leadership within the CPS. We hope that your Indigenous community mobilizers will start by June or July, as these are the best times to build relationships with Indigenous communities. For example, attendance by CPS members in plain clothes, as well as Commission members at the Stampede Powwow and the Powwow Trail, can provide a basis for building a relationship of trust with the Indigenous communities. There are excellent resources to becoming anti-racist and inclusive of Indigenous peoples and perspectives. But they need to be read, taught, practiced, and incorporated into middle management. Here are some examples. Like the Calgary Alliance, Quebec's Center for Community Organizations is a charitable organization whose mission is to support the health and well-being of community. You can go on www.coco.net to get more information. There are a project and book towards braiding, including Indigenous perspectives in your organization, demonstrates how universal these issues are. We can summarize it in 4 main sections, and these should sound familiar. Integrity. What do you expect the Indigenous perspective to do for you? Commitment. What kind of learning are you willing to do? Harm reduction. What are the hidden costs and labor involved in your invitation to engage? Resilience. Are you committed to addressing the individual and group conflicts and anxieties that will probably arise? These questions seem especially relevant since our meeting with Inspector Averill Martin. We want the Commission to know that Indigenous liaison officers Alan, Justin, and Devon have suddenly left the Indigenous resource team to which they were so committed. And we want you to find out why they did that. And finally, regarding the CPS's Truth and Reconciliation team, we're wondering why the commitment to the Indigenous Resource Office of these sworn officers changed so suddenly. There is an answer to that question. We need you to find out what it is. We've spent
Sorry. Sorry, Elder Healy, I jumped in. I thought that was the end of your presentation.
I was just going to say, we've done so good work up till now, but then suddenly now we seem to see we're going backwards again. So that's why I'm asking all these questions, but we want to continue moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your timely and very thoughtful and reflective comments. I will say that I know that the service is aware of all of the situation that you're talking about. Perhaps if you have a very brief comment that you'd like to make, but otherwise, I think Inspector Martin will continue to work with you, as will other members of the diversity group within the service. Is there a brief comment you'd like to make?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just really quickly, Elder Doreen, thank you for taking the time to pop in there. I know you're a great partner. The Alliance is a great partner, and I know why you're concerned about this. I'm confident that we're not going to take a step backwards. We're committed to not taking a step backwards. We will have the discussions, and I'm sure Inspector Martin and Deputy McClellan will welcome that meeting, and we'll continue to work forward. We've worked through some issues here, as you know, but we are committed, and I'm sure we'll be able to connect with you again in the future. But I really appreciate your